All right, we're going to be working in lesson 4.1, and we have been working on rate of change in slope, and what we're going to look at now is how does this apply to writing and graphing slope-intercept form. And primarily today we're just going to look at the graph of it, okay? All right, so zooming in here, y-intercept, we hopefully know by now, is where a line crosses the y-axis. So where a line crosses the y-axis. It is also called your b-value, okay? Now, slope-intercept form is an equation. It's y equals mx plus b, okay? And just to review, m is slope. We should know that, okay? Now, your b-value, this is going to be your y-intercept. It is also where we're going to start all of our graphs. So I like to call it like our starting point, okay? Now, the x and the y, okay, these two guys are a coordinate point. Coordinate point. We're going to leave x and y alone for now, but eventually that's going to become very important to us. All right, so what we're going to do is I am going to show you how to do the examples. So I'm going to do the first column for you, and we're going to write out some steps. And then after we conclude the video, you're going to need to work on the on your own problems just going down this column, okay? All right, so, backtrack there, sorry guys. All right, so we're looking at our first example here, okay? And when we're thinking about y equals mx plus b, okay, you need to realize that y equals, we've got mx plus b. So this is my slope value, and in this case, there is no b value, okay? So now this is where I'm going to start, okay? And it's going to be on your y-axis, okay? So I'm going to start at 0. And then I'm going to think about slope. And slope is, in this case, slope is equal to 3. And I'm going to make it a fraction so that I can use my rise over run, okay? So I'm going to rise 3 and run over 1. And that's going to be my next point. Now, you don't need to make that red line. It's just I'm making it so that you understand what's going on there. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rise 3 and run over 1. And there will be my next point. Now, I expect our graphs, our lines to go all the way across our grid. So now I'm going to go backwards, and I'm going to go down 3 and over this way just to keep it all on the same line. Okay, and then down 3 in the left, one more. All right. And so then I'm going to draw a nice, pretty straight as we can get line with arrows on the end. Okay, so now when we're doing our steps here, step 1, okay, we're going to graph B, which is our y-intercept, okay? Now make sure that this actually does stay on your y-axis. That's very important, okay? So graph B. So start on y-axis. Okay, then step 2, graph the slope. Okay, and I want you thinking of rise over run when you do that. So make everything in terms of a fraction. Okay, all right, so now let's look at the next example here. Okay, and on this next example, we're given a b value. So again, if I write y equals mx plus b, okay, now I have to understand that that negative means that there's a negative 1 there. So that negative 1 is my slope, and the negative 3 is my b value. Okay, so we're going to start here at negative 3. So start at negative 3. And again, my slope is negative 1, and I'm going to put that over 1. Always rise over run. So now I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1. Always run to the right when you're first starting these out. Okay, so the negative, this guy right here, negative means go down. If it were a positive, it would mean go up and over. Okay, so we always go up or down, and then we always run to the right. Very important that you always run right. Okay, so now I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. Now, to go to the other side of my graph, I'm going to do backwards. So I'm going to go up and to the left. But to start off, we always go up or down, and then to the right. All right. And let's make our line with arrows on the end. Okay. So again, step 1 in this case is to graph the b value, which is our y-intercept. Notice how I'm starting on my y-axis, okay? And then step 2, graph the slope, or graph m, okay? All right, next page here. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at something that is in not y equals form. Now in class, we've been really stressing to make sure that we get solve for y. So in this case, the first thing I'm going to do is divide everything by 3 to solve for y. So I have y equals, leave it as 2/3, leave it as a fraction form, and then minus, let's make a better 3 here. No, maybe not. Okay, so this is a 3. So that'll be minus 2 when I divide. Okay, so now same steps. Solve, or start with your b value. So I'm starting at -2 on my y-axis. Okay, there's my start point. And then my slope of 2/3. Rise over run. Rise 2, run 3. Okay, so I'm going to rise 2 and run 3. And that will be where my next point is. Rise 2 more, run 3 more. Again, notice how I'm going up and always to the right. Now, do the opposite to get points on the other side of that start point. And there's going to be your line. Okay? All right, so again, on this one, our first step is we're always going to solve for y first. Okay, so no matter what, let's solve for y, and then we have the exact same 2 steps. Graph the b, so in other words, on your y-axis, have a starting point, and then graph the slope. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, it's kind of the same thing over and over and over. It's just we have to make sure that we have y by itself. All right, next problem here. Okay, so now if I look at this guy, y equals -2, what I'm missing is my m and my x. Okay, so if I think about this, this is actually saying that there are 0 x's minus 2. Okay, so again, I'm putting it in y equals mx plus b form. So my slope is going to be 0, okay, and my starting point is going to be -2. So I'm going to go ahead and start down on -2, okay, and a slope of 0, you got 2 ways of knowing how to do it. You can either know that a slope of 0 is a horizontal line, thinking back to the face that we made in class, okay, in our 3-3 notes, or if you want to think about rise over run, you can put the slope as 0 over 1. And that means go up and down nowhere over 1. Up and down nowhere over 1. And you'll get a horizontal line that way. So I have just a horizontal line at -2. Okay. So now, if you need to do some steps here, my first recommendation, I can't say that right, sorry, is to rewrite, all right, so rewrite it into y equals mx plus b. So put in that 0x right here, okay? Then step 2 is we're just going to graph it. Okay, so you start with your start point and then do your slope. All right, and the last problem we're going to look at today is this guy right here. Now, this is a special guy, okay? And you might want to star him or something. He is special. You cannot graph him using y equals mx plus b rules, okay? So no y equals mx plus b. And the reason is there is no y value. All we have is an x. There's no y's. So then you basically have 2 options. Okay, so no y equals mx b. Option 1 is to memorize. And just know that I have an undefined slope and that it's at 1. Okay, and that means that it's going to be a vertical line. Or 2 is make a table. So if I make my table here, okay, and I'm going to leave out the middle column, x's have to be 1s, and then I've got -2, 0, and 2 for my y values, okay? So if I go down here and graph 1, -2, 1, 0, and 1, 2. Okay, oh, let's try that. I didn't get that on 2, did I? Okay, now draw your vertical line. Again, this is an undefined slope. You need to know that. Okay, undefined slope. So again, you can memorize and just know that this guy is going to be a vertical line at 1. Notice how I'm starting at 1. Okay, so vertical line at 1. Or we can make the table and then you graph the points and then know it's a vertical line with an undefined slope. All right, so that concludes the notes for right now. What I need you to do then is you need to go through all of the third column here off to the side, and you need to complete those 5 problems.